Today we're going to talk about the Los Angeles fires. This is Leigh, and I'd like to welcome you to Alchemy Intuitive Arts. I am your tour guide to take you on a cosmic trip around the spiritual galaxy. So if that piques your interest, please punch your ticket and climb aboard. Smash the like button and subscribe. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you. And if you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting for? So today I'm going to talk about the fires that have been raging and are still raging and are still out of control in Los Angeles. And I'm being called to talk about this because, number one, this affects me on a personal level. And number two, because as a content creator, especially a spiritualist, I would be escaping my duties to not talk about this situation. And it's made doubly important to me because I myself have been through this experience. In 2017, the city I live in caught on fire.
Is there any estimate on how long it might take to have it fully contained and out?
No, like I said, as of right now, we're at 0% containment.
There's a backup battery.
There's the fire trucks and the CAL FIRE vehicles getting ready to leave their staging area and go back out to the fire. There's the big airplane that dumps stuff on the fire. 22 people died in my city, and I had to evacuate. At that time, we lost our family home. Which I was not living in it at the time. It was burnt to the ground. I happen to live in a location that is a pathway for the fires. The pathway of these fires burned over a mountain and into our city, and that took 1 hour for those fires to get to our city from over a mountain, from the other side of the mountain, from Napa Valley, basically. I had to evacuate my home and take my pets and all my important belongings and my children, and we had to go and stay with friends. This happened a second time in 2020. And it also happened in the neighboring county the year before, 2016. And my friend at that time lost his house and it burnt to the ground. And what is very interesting about this fire, and it seems to be lining up with the same thing with the Los Angeles fires, is that the trees are not burning. Now, I don't know what the science is behind that, but right next to the tree, there's a vehicle that literally is melted. Literally melted metal. That tells you how hot these fires are burning. And maybe because the tree has, water inside of it, it doesn't burn. The vineyards didn't really burn that much. They got smoky. So that made some special wine, but the homes burnt to rubble and everything melted. All the metal melted. And it was the same apocalyptic scene that you see in Los Angeles. It's traumatic for people who are post-fire, and we have many, many, many friends who lost their homes in this fire. And there were many businesses and structures and people and many pets and animals that perished in the fire. And there were many, many, many courageous people that saved horses and livestock and dogs and cats and humans. People are bringing their large animals they're taking them out of the fire zone and bringing them in to the fairgrounds paddocks. If you listen to the 911 calls that happened during our fire, which is called the Tubbs fire, they're heartbreaking because the people were trapped. And subsequently there was a fire called the Paradise Fire, which at that time was, I think, a year or two after, and that had the same situation. We're seeing Los Angeles burn. We're seeing Los Angeles burn to the ground. And what is interesting about this fire that aligns up with the fire where I live, at many very exclusive neighborhoods burnt down, and many were expensive land, where expensive land was, they also burnt down. For example, there was a mobile home park where elderly lived, and there was a bunch of mobile homes there, and it was in an area where, the land was worth a lot, and those people all lost their homes. Many people took years to get their homes rebuilt, and that was with insurance. Now, it's my understanding that some of the homeowners were given notices that their homes wouldn't be covered by fire insurance in Los Angeles. And probably many people, put that on their to-do list of things to do to look into that. People here were in litigation for years, and it was proven that PG&E was derelict in their duties. And so these people had to litigate against one of the largest companies, the most wealthiest corporations in California. And they did not come out on top. They got money, but essentially PG&E won, and they're continuing to raise our rates here in California and make it ridiculously expensive to live, especially where I live. And of course, Los Angeles is ridiculously expensive to live in. This is so personal to me because I used to live in Southern California, and I went to Ventura High School, and many of my early teen high school memories and on into adulthood are from Southern California. Great memories, the beaches, driving down Pacific Coast Highway, stopping to get a Red Bull off the Red Bull truck that was passing out free Red Bulls, dipping my toes in the Pacific Ocean, watching the dolphins, swimming off the Pacific Coast Highway, traveling down into greater Los Angeles to Santa Monica, the pier, going shopping, going to Sunset Boulevard, spending a week, one night in Sunset Boulevard, on Sunset Boulevard. I used to travel down from Point Mugu, which is the very tip of that highway, all the way down south. And it was always my go-to place because I loved it so much. And there's so many iconic places there. Los Angeles has such a depth of history. Hollywood, the history of Hollywood, the history of how Los Angeles became a city. And those homes and those buildings and those structures that have burned told that story. There's so many iconic places there, and I know many of them are still here, but many of them are gone. They're leveled to rubble. There's nothing left. And yes, many people have second homes, but many people may have had mementos and items and things that they will never be able to replace. When you go through an incident like this, that's traumatic, where you lose your home or your things, then you begin to realize that material wealth, material things are fleeting. They come and they go. I myself have seen material wealth come and go throughout my life. But the greatest tragedy is the loss of family, friends, pets, and the animals. People will rebuild. They will figure out a way to rebuild. Some may not be able to rebuild. Some may be displaced for a very long time. And what I find so interesting is that many exclusive neighborhoods burned. Malibu, Pasadena, Palisades, all of these areas, Hollywood Hills. Hollywood. These areas are, number one, iconic, and number two, exclusive. And that is burning or erasing people's attachment or memories to these places and things. I've been contemplating, as I have been continuously contemplating, about the fire that happened where I live and how crazy it was and how many people died and how dangerous it was. And it was literally a mile from my home. It was literally right next door. I could see the flames from my front porch rising in the distance. And we evacuated very quickly, and it was terrifying, as many are experiencing now. So, what is the spiritual meaning of this? Was this intentional? Did somebody intentionally set these fires to erase a particular area? Confirmation. Were these fires intentionally set to get, number one, insurance money for those who have insurance? Number two, to garner emergency relief funding for California. As a side note, California is experiencing a huge influx of people from the southern border. And as you know, this has been going on for 4 years. So we're seeing a tremendous burden put on our public funding that is from people who are not employed and who need medical services, who need homes, who need food, care, etc. Now, I'm not blaming any of these people. I'm just saying this is a fact. Our public services are experiencing significant financial pressure. Now, as I said, I've lived in California for many years, since my teen years, I have never seen more fires, more dangerous emergencies, more theft, more just degradation of this state than I have since the particular governor that we have right now has been in place. And as this airs, we're in 2025. There seems to be a repeated pattern of emergencies, of fires, of call for emergency funding, and this has gone on for a couple of terms, for many years, a long time. California, as many know, many people want to live here or have wanted to live here because the weather's good. There's lots to do here. You know, it's a good place to live. People are interesting, people are fun, that sort of thing. But that has been changing. I used to go to San Francisco all the time, and now I don't want to go there. I will go there on special occasion, but I've had my car broken into 3 times. I think 3 times. It's just almost not worth it anymore. I mean, I used to go there all the time. And same with Los Angeles. I saw my first concert at the Forum. I saw one of Van Halen's first concerts at one of the Day on the Greens. So many memories. I live so close to the ocean. Class at my high school called Jog and Surf, and we could literally jog down to the ocean and go surfing and then jog back to class. Of course, some of us didn't make it back to class. I'm not going to name any names. It wasn't me. Anyways, it is so sad to see these iconic places perish. I do believe that there is either a karmic debt that's being paid, or these fires were set intentionally, like physically somebody used some form of fire starting situation to start them. Because it's very interesting that, number one, there was a reservoir shut down in the Palisades earlier in 2024 that could have helped save that area. And number two, they canceled those insurance policies on a lot of people. And number three, all of the areas, or many of the areas that were burned, are separate and meaningful and iconic. Runyon Canyon. Everybody goes up that canyon. Everybody hikes that canyon. You see it on all social media. It's very popular. Hollywood, Sunset Boulevard. I mean, who doesn't know about Sunset Boulevard and the Hollywood Hills and all the parties that go on there? Who doesn't know about Malibu and all the parties that have gone on there and all the things that have happened? And Pasadena is the place where many of the producers and people that work in the film industry live. We've all heard those stories about the young people and even the older people that were taken off path through people in that industry. Now, nobody knows for sure, but my downloads, my spiritual intuition tell me that this is a karmic cleansing. It's a karmic cleansing. And I do believe that that also could have been partially what happened where I live. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is bad or everybody is evil, and I'm not saying that anybody should lose a home. I'm just saying that there are things and people and places that hold specific types of energy that have created an imbalance. And when there is an imbalance, that will need to be corrected, and the universe will correct that imbalance. It's universal law. The imbalance will be corrected. You and I have control over the imbalances in our life and the imbalances we create for other people, and the imbalances that will come back to affect us when universal law is in correction. It's just the way it works. And I can't explain all the science behind how that happens, but I can tell you that's how it happens. Oh, was it intentional? Was it an actual person who is balancing the karma? Was it the wind that balanced the karma? Was it our group? There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there saying that it was done to hide evidence. Now, I don't know anything about that stuff because I don't run in those circles. I don't know those people. All I know is, from a spiritual standpoint, something needed to be corrected. And there's a lot of innocent people that got caught in the firestorm during this correction. Put yourself where you fit. You, and only you will know where you fit in the correction. Are you on the side of the imbalance? Or are you an innocent person who got caught in this imbalance? And for the rest of us who are observers, this is a collective trauma. When we are watching people, places, things burn to the ground and be out of control, and no water, even though you have a huge ocean right there, there's no water to fight these fires. When you see the mayor come back after things are well underway and has not a word to speak about it, that's criminal. What happened there is either a karmic debt through nature or somebody who has purposefully set these fires for some reason. And you can use your discernment, your third eye, to make your decision about what brought this situation on. But what I see is that these fires are going to continue to burn because they don't have enough people, and because they're so set apart from each other that if you send a firefighting group one way and another one another way, there's just not enough people to fight that fire. When we had the fire, we had people coming from Europe to help us fight the fire in our city. And I'm sure that's happening in Los Angeles. I know LA helped us fight our fire, and I know we're helping LA fight their fire. And fire stations from all over the nation are going to Los Angeles to help fight the fire. And I've even heard rumors that inmates are helping to fight the fire, which I don't know what to think about that. That feels like it's not a choice. That feels like some kind of debt that they're repaying to society. And I can tell you that my ex-husband would get called to fight fires for California. And I can tell you it's some of the hardest work that you'll ever do. I've never done it, but I know that he's done it several times, and it's exhausting. You have these heavy clothes, you're going up mountainsides, or you're going into burning houses, you're laden with all this heavy equipment and these heavy hoses, you're in a dangerous situation. Send your prayers to all of the people, the firefighters. Help them out. Do what you can. Take people in. Help them have shelter, but also take care of yourself, because the other thing that happens is this is a hotbed, and that's a pun. This is a hotbed for crime. People start to loot. They start to go into these neighborhoods and try and steal things. If they can find homes that aren't burnt, they're gonna try and loot them and steal from them. So just be aware and pray and meditate and help bring us out of this collective trauma. And keep your eyes open. And if you hear something that feels off, talk about it. If you're in social media, talk about it. If you're a creator, post something. If you have a platform in some way, post what you've learned so that other people can benefit from that. And stay ready. You know, to this day, we have what's called a go bag. You learn that terminology when you have to evacuate. You have all your insurance papers. You have all your birth certificates, your passports, your bank account information, whatever's important, your pictures, whatever is critically important to rebuild your life, you have that in your go bag. Have that ready. And if you're like me, you have a tendency now to keep your car filled up as much as possible, so that if you have to go, you can go early. So we're sending love and light to Los Angeles. We're sending love and light to those that have perished. And with that said, peace, love.